right? There's no book on the African Latino diaspora.
Nothing.
Not to my knowledge, right? Now you have a few documentaries by Henry Louis Gates about Afro Latinos, right? There's a book called Down These Mean Streets by Perry Thomas, and Perry Thomas, speaks about how he was dark and he's Puerto Rican, his brother was light, you know, him being dark and him experiencing what it meant to be and feel like a black person, he identified with blackness. His brother, didn't have that pigmentation, they identified with blackness, right? So that book actually tells the story of, one brother who's dark, one brother who's light, and how they had conflict regarding that. But in reference to specific African and Latino diaspora, I don't know any direct books regarding that. I know books about African history, that's good to read. Books about Latino history, that's good to read. Books about how Africans came to the Americas, before slavery, which are good to read. But a book specifically about the waves of the diaspora is not out there. That's why I'm writing it.
So there's nothing. So you have to compile all this information and pretty much create your own web to figure out.
It's like a puzzle.
Your own, yes.
It's like the piece of a puzzle here, piece of a puzzle there, and I got to put it together and make my own image. So again, there's a book called Down These Mean Streets by Perry Thomas, which again goes into the conflict between two brothers. One's dark, one's light. They're Puerto Rican, so they're Latinos, right? And of course, the black one, the darker one, has obvious African features, but the light one doesn't, right? You have that in the Latino community, right? You have Afro-Latinos and you have Latinos who don't look like that. They have African features, right? And you have some who tell you, who are darker than 2 midnights, will tell you that they're not black, they're Spanish. There was a documentary called Congo Pati, Congopati, Congo Pati, which goes into or spoke about or documented the colorism that occurs in the Dominican Republic. Now you have books on colorism as well, right? The color complex, But again, that's not about or in reference to the African Latino diaspora. You may have books about the Jewish diaspora, so to speak, but as far as my knowledge, there's no book which tells the overlap between the two. It tells you about African voyages. There's a book called Harvest of Empire by Juan Gonzalez. He speaks about how countries like Honduras, Dominican Republic, Honduras, I think Ecuador. No, hold on. It's Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Honduras, and it was another country. Not Nicaragua. Yeah, I'll look it up in a second.
Panama?
Not Panama. Shoot, I can't think of it. Hold on, I'll start again. What's that? There's a book called Harvest of Empire. Harvest of Empire by Juan Gonzalez. And that speaks about how Ecuadorians, El Salvadorians, Hondurans, Puerto Ricans, how those Latino populations, how come they came here, right? So you have that. It's a documentary as well. But again, so you can study the history of Latino migration, study the history of African migration, study the history of Africa, study the history of the Caribbean, study the history of Central America and South America, study the history of the United States of America, right? Once you study all these topics, then you can call them together and understand what it means or what the African diaspora is or the African Latino diaspora is. Because basically the same thing. The Latino diaspora is just another wave in the African Ocean or the African Oceanic diaspora.
How long did it take you to compile all this information?
I'm still compiling it.
Well, the information you have thus far, how long did it take?
About 15 years. I'd say about 15 years to actually speak on this with some type of confidence, to be conversant in it. You know, I don't say I'm an expert because, it's so much to learn, and it's not a topic that I don't think there's any real expert on. You know, you have people who are knowledgeable about it, who can speak about it, but there's always something you don't know. Because it's so vast. Like when you were talking about Africa, you're speaking about the most vast subject that you can think about. I don't know any subject which takes more time, effort, and study. Not only because of its vastness, but because so much of it has been expunged, misrepresented, you know, um, just misunderstood. So I'm trying to untie this Gordian knot, you know, and sometimes you have to just use the axe, use the sword like Alexander, just chop it up, because to untie it is almost impossible. So you chop it. So I'm trying to chop at it.
What's the most surprising thing you discovered? The most shocking thing that you said, "Wow, I never knew that."
Well, it's almost everything because I didn't know any of this. It's like, we're taught, okay, Black History Month, we just passed, right?
Right.
Black History Month is really, I guess, the parsley on the plate of the meal of history, right? Because to me, Black History Month also incorporates African history. So when you're speaking about the ancient Egyptian, ancient Kemetic people, that's African history, that's Black history. What Black History Month and Black history is in this nation is basically like a first Negro syndrome, right? You have the first Black person to do somebody white did. So Blackness, or the greatness thereof, is based off of white standardization. So okay, this Black person is good because he did something somebody white did, right? So Black History Month highlights many things that Black folks did that white folks did before them. Of course, you have other Black firsts, parts where Blacks just did, period. But you have so many instances of where, all right, he's the first Black man to go in space. He's the first Black man to, own a business. He's the first Black man to, fry barbecue. It's just like, it's foolish. To me, it's very short-sighted. Because I see us as a global people, as the first people. And if you understand human evolution, you know that we've been on this planet for for 7 million years.